There's moments where most new developers quit, and it's not what you think. It's not a bug at 2 a.m. It's not the number of red lines in the code they see. No, it's far beyond that. It's when they open an empty file and then they want to build something and then they realize there's a part of it they don't understand yet. That moment is where the problem starts from. And then at that point, quietly in their mind, they say, just phrase, I don't think I'm ready yet. It has made a whole lot of developers go back. It has made a whole lot of developers quit. It has also made the ones who were so stubborn not to quit and also not to change remain the same way they are. And then you see them write 5 years of experience and they're still the same way. After they've started a project and they're looking at it, they don't understand something, they quickly run back to a tutorial. And they spend hours, days, they feel safe with it. So, and if you've been around coding for a while now, you would have heard of something people call tutorial hell. Yeah, it's when you watch tons of tutorials, a lot of them, you just burn through tons of tutorials, copying codes, following what they're saying, and then um, not even building anything personally, or even not following their project complete because you have um, half-solved codes and all. So I've documented some things I feel if this can be addressed, you get better. And I want you to follow me as I go through this because if you're able to solve this one thing, you become a better developer. You become clear on what you're meant to do. You become more confident in the way you approach projects. So, the main symptoms are written out here: tutorial help. That's the major symptom. That's the major symptom that every single body know, every single person's know. You ask um, a random developer for an advice, and they tell you try to avoid tutorial help. Now, in essence, they're telling you work on something yourself. They're telling you to do something yourself. And one funny thing is, you feel like you're making progress, not knowing you're trapped. You feel like you're actually progressing. You feel like the progress is visible because you're following somebody and you're sure there's no cause for problem, bugs, issues that the person will resolve. All you just need to do is follow along and you feel safe. If you're in the field of software development to be safe, you're in the wrong field. I'll tell you why you're in the wrong field very soon. But now let me tell you the real mistake. The real mistake developers make is not really about tutorial hell. That's just a symptom of an actual problem. You know, I find many people saying tutorial hell, but then there's a root cause. And what I've written is this. I said the biggest mistake new developers make is believing you have to know everything before you start. Believing you have to know everything before you start is the biggest mistake new developers make. And look at how this thing operates because it's very sneaky. You sit down to build something, and then you get to a part you don't know. Say for instance, user login. Your brain kind of translates something like, I don't know where to begin here. I've never worked on something like this before. I don't think I'm ready. That statement. So what do you do now? You go find a tutorial that addresses it, and the tutorial you feel safe because the whole thing has been set up for you. That's the whole issue there. The tutorials no longer feel like a place to learn, it just feels like a place to run to feel safe. You've now turned tutorial to a place where you can run to when you don't understand something. Every time you hit something unknown, you find yourself running back to that safety net, which kind of compromises the whole purpose of what this task is all about, of what software development is all about. And what is it all about? It's about being okay, not knowing, and being able to figure it out as you go along. That feeling of, okay, let me take one more course. Let me take one more tutorial. Let me work on, let me follow along one more project. Let me try to complete this. Let me try to follow this person along to complete this project. Let me try to fulfill. And now, when you're done with this project, you feel fulfilled. You feel like, yeah, you've done something, but you didn't do it. You copied somebody else. And then that feeling of progress wears out after a day or two, and then you're back to going back to the tutorials again. Now you might be thinking, people who are in this field who have gone far, they don't feel this. Like they just know how everything works, and that's why they can do it. Let me tell you how backwards that is. A few years ago, when I started to learn, when I started coding, when I started, I went into web development. I had a practice of always teaching what I learned, right from secondary school, right from high school, and all. And I took up Python, I learned it, I taught students. I organized a closed WhatsApp group, taught people, taught like I really knew it. I know it feels safe. I can go through what I want to take them for that day and then go on the session and I'm taking them, teaching them whatever it is. And I tell them later to drop their questions. And then if I need to answer any question I don't know, I go researching it and I send them the response. I'm learning, they don't know, but I'm also passing value to them, yes or no? Yeah, I did that. Also, when I got into development, I was teaching HTML, CSS, JavaScript, the likes, React. And one thing about the way I learn is this: I learn so I can teach, and by learning to teach, I know more, I understand better, and I don't just learn to understand the syntax. I learn to understand the application of things. How is it applied? What is it used for? What does it solve? What's the problem I can solve with this? What's the output I can gain from this? From one of the tutorials I had and held and on, I had a number of clients, but there was one that still stuck to me. He needed a startup, a SaaS software as a service. I've never built anything like that before. But then the way I came up as teaching those tutorials, I taught like a professional and I was so fluent and he understood everything in detail. In fact, they loved it. They gave testimonials and all. I got a client from there. This client messaged me and said he needed a SaaS software or something for himself as a business. He needed like an invoice generating application for businesses to easily generate invoices and receipts at the same time, and also be able to send it to whoever is the recipient, the client from the platform, and also receive payments and all on the same platform. So, and I've never done anything like this before. I've never built a full stack application from the ground up for a user. I'm telling you sincerely, that was the level to which I had learned then. And in fact, I'd not really had an official client before then. I thought I was just teaching what I had learned. I've never really had, I had not had any official clients in that, in the field of creating websites and coding and all like that. I took the project, gave him a breakdown of the costs and everything, and I signed myself up for it. So to him, I understood what I was doing, but I knew I had deliberately locked myself up, and I had no other choice but to deliver. So I spent time learning, stressing about it, learning the things I need to learn, applying it immediately, and seeing it work, fixing bugs, stressing myself over it, walking through different bugs I've never experienced in my life that I had thought was meant for people who had years and years of experience. I've been doing this for years now, for about 3 to 4 years now, and I have never for once fully understood the scope and the depth and the tools and everything needed to complete a project before I started. You cannot, it's not possible. And honestly, it will never stop. Because the job wasn't about knowing everything, it was about knowing how to know what you need to know when you need to know. That's just it. So those developers, senior developers you admire, are not walking encyclopedias. They've just got comfortable not knowing and then figuring it out. That's just it. So I've listed 5 things of what you can do instead to fix this developer mistake that has constantly been a torment and hindered you from actually growing in this field. One of it is build before you feel ready. So you can never feel ready. That's just the truth. If no one has ever told you that, you can never feel ready. Many people were just like you, but they just started anyway. They just started doing, putting in the work. So just pick up that project and start it. You can never feel ready. And make sure you're picking a project that scares you at least a little bit. Don't pick a project you feel so comfortable with. Pick something that you know it's difficult, it scares you. Can I actually accomplish this? I only know a bit of it. That's a project that you pick. So number one, build before you feel ready. Two, learn on demand. Don't just acquire and keep gathering skills you don't need for a certain project for that moment. You're gathering garbage because at the end of the day, when you truly need it, you still have to go back again to revise and try to understand it again for you to apply. So stop thinking there's a future I might need this, and let me try to gather all of this knowledge and put them. You're wasting. You're wasting time, wasting space, wasting resources, and you still definitely have to go back to learn these things when you actually need them. So when you learn on demand, the third thing to do. So when you do use a tutorial, when you're making use of a tutorial, climb out of it. Now, tutorials are not bad. They're not the enemy. But staying there, being fixed, taking it to be like your abode as in a house is where the mistake starts from. So when you finish a tutorial, don't just stop there. Increase it. Um, um, make it a bit difficult. Include a feature that the tutor never included. Think of an additional complexity you can add to it. Think about it's a project, it's a solution. Then you can definitely, as a human, look at it. Okay, it can get better in this way, even though you don't know how it can get better that way using code. But you know, if that happened from the perspective of a user, from the perspective of someone who uses the application, you can bring up possible complexities, possible additionals and add-ons that the application would be nice to have to make it better, to make it more efficient. That way you're building something that's actually yours. You're building, you're creating, not just having the same thing you got there and pasting it within your portfolio. The fourth thing is check your ratio. Check your ratio. Check your ratio. What do I mean by check your ratio? It's just a rough rule of thumb, but saying that um, make sure you're learning 20% and then applying the 20% you learned 80% with the remaining 80%. Don't use 80% of your time learning and 20% practicing. So, and if that's your problem, is that something you've noticed? You can sit down with 3 hours of tutorial, but to practice something you only dedicating 30 minutes or so to it, then that's a problem. The fifth one is very, very important. That's the big one. Finish something. Finish something. And then put it in front of a real human being. So this is why it matters more than the other four combined, I said. So people get stuck in this loop of creating tutorials and never finishing anything, following tutorials and never finishing anything, never accomplishing it, never actually having something real and authentic and saying, okay, this is mine. They always have one more thing they need to do, one more feature to add, one more cleanup they need to do, one more bug to resolve. Something left undone that the project just remains there. Finishing forces you to submit something. It forces you to display something and say, I did this. Even if it's not perfect, even if it's not completely done, just ship it anyway. That's a statement we say to publish it, to make it alive, to make it available out there in the world for people to see. even though it's not perfect. Understand that. But notice it is never going to be perfect. Never. Why do we keep having updates on platforms like Google, on Udemy, or on YouTube, and there's tons of different platforms you have? Why do you keep seeing updates and updates and updates and updates? It is never going to be perfect. You constantly upgrade as you go on. You constantly add features as you go on. You constantly put in, just ship it. Ship it messy. And then it can keep adding the features as you go on. But make sure it solves a problem. So your main goal is to get it working, not just making not to make it beautiful. The main thing is working. Make sure it works. Make sure it does what it needs to do. And then give it to somebody to use. Give it to your parents, give it to your siblings, give it to your friend, give it to your family friend, give it to your customers, give it to anybody. Let them test it out. Let them try it out. Let them give you your feedback. Then you go from just being a mediocre developer learning to someone actually building stuff people are actually using. Okay, so now let me sort out this question. Some of you are already asking it in your mind somewhere there. And the question is, okay, you're like, um, don't I need to don't I need to learn the fundamentals? Am I just to um, wing all of it as I go? Fundamentals are real. They matter a lot. But you don't pick them by sitting in a classroom. You don't pick them until you're qualified. You learn the fundamentals by applying. You learn the fundamentals by actually building. They get burned into you. They get infused into you by when you practically carry them out. When you go through the struggle, when you go through the intense um, uh, difficulty in actually bringing them to life, that is where fundamentals get forged within you, not in the classroom. So, knowing enough to start and knowing everything, they are two completely different things. Don't be the one aiming to know everything. You can't. Start something, build something yourself, make mistakes, let it be messy. Don't see the tutorials. Don't start a project and say, I don't understand this feature, and you leave it there. No. Be one who understands the fundamentals and is ready to take on projects despite not knowing everything. That's always been the bar. That's the bar has always been. Even in the age of AI and whole, solve a problem. That's the main thing. And be ready to solve it without knowing everything. So just like we started the empty blank paper, the empty blank file, looking at it, and you're like, I don't think I know enough to get started. So now you know it's not you being careful. It's not you feeling like you need to know everything and all. It's just a mistake. It's a terrible mistake developers make. So today, start that thing you've been putting off. That project you've been putting off, that work you meant to have started a long time ago, start it. Do something. Put in the effort. Research about it. Apply the same instant. See it give you the results and ship fast. That's the whole game. If this shifted something for you, I'd love you to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, like the video, and this is the kind of stuff I make. This kind of video I make around here. And do me a favor, tell me in the comments what projects you've been putting off for a long time right now, and actually name it. Naming it is the first step to actually doing it. I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching.